all those practices that we think are helping us, but instead are hindering us. Welcome back to my channel once again, where we always are talking about Scrum, Agile, and software development. Today, our topic is about anti-patterns, all those practices that we think are helping us, but instead are hindering us. What is anti-pattern? Anti-patterns are counterproductive processes and behaviors that we think are helping us, but ultimately, in long run, they prove to be detrimental. Anti-patterns generally emerge as quick fix or a shortcut, but we don't realize in long run how much detrimental they will be. Recognizing and addressing these anti-patterns are crucial for success of our agile teams. In my video today, I'm going to discuss 10 anti-patterns. Number 1, partly done work. I find a common behavior in so many teams that keep on rolling unfinished work from one sprint to next. In some teams, I've noticed that they will have user stories that have been rolled over multiple sprints and are still in progress. On surface, does not look like a big issue, but if a user story has been rolling over multiple sprints, it shows that team is not focusing on finishing tasks. Instead, they are too eager to pick up new things. It shows that team is distracted and there is no focus in team. We do not expect our Scrum teams to complete every single user story they committed in sprint planning, because that means they are playing safe. But also we do not expect them to have user stories that are rolling over multiple sprints. If something has rolled over into the next sprint, that should be the first user story that gets completed in the next sprint. Also, when sprint gets completed and we have these unfinished user stories, ideally they should go back into the backlog and we should prioritize based on, are these user stories still a priority and should we be working on them? And if they are still a priority and we should be working upon them, then these should be the first one to get finished. Anti-pattern 2, not adhering to or ignoring definition of done. Not following definition of done will lead to lower quality of deliverables. Definition of done is there to provide understanding for every single team member what is the expected quality of the deliverables. What things must be met before we can say this user story, this functionality, this feature is completed and ready to be handed over to our customers. When we start to ignore our definition of done, it creates misunderstanding within the team. So ensure that your team has created a definition of done and is adhering to it, is following that definition of done. Anti-pattern number 3, overcommitting. If the team keeps on overcommitting, what does that mean? And why are they doing that? If they know that their velocity is, let's say, 40 story points, and every sprint they commit to 80, 90, 100, why are they doing that? That means that that team is unable to prioritize their backlog. They're unable to prioritize what is the priority that they need to deliver to the customer. Having too much stuff in their sprint will cause more pressure for the team. Having too many items in your sprint backlog will cause confusion in the team. It will mean that the team is not picking up the priority items. It will also mean that they are working on multiple items at once. And the biggest, the most negative effect of this is that when the team is always overcommitting and underperforming, under-delivering, it means that the stakeholders and the management will lose trust within the team's ability to deliver. If team every sprint review says this is our objective for the next sprint, and every sprint after sprint fails to meet those objectives, what does that show about the team? How much confidence would those stakeholders and management would have within that team? What I find is that those teams that generally overcommit, it actually slows them down. If you look at your velocity, and let's say your velocity is 40 story points, and if in your sprint planning you only allow 40 story points, and This will give the team the focus to meet and work on those 40 points. And if they finish them beforehand, you can always bring stuff from the backlog. But it means that the team is working on priority items. And I find that by doing this, the velocity of the team starts to increase and the performance starts to get high. They build trust with the stakeholders and it builds confidence within the team. By overcommitting every single sprint as a Scrum team, you are not doing anyone any favors. Number 4, micromanagement. Micromanagement is a relic from traditional waterfall project management, old style of management that has creeped into some of Agile and Scrum teams. Only yesterday I was talking to one of the Scrum Masters who had reached out to me where her engineering manager was trying to micromanage her team. And this caused the team's performance to nosedive within a couple of sprints. Micromanagement by senior managers, Scrum Masters or product owners has a detrimental effect on Scrum teams. Everyone in Scrum team that are expert in what they do have confidence in their ability to deliver. Role of you as a Scrum Master is a servant leader. It is not your job to micromanage. It's no one's job to micromanage anyone in the Scrum team. Micromanagement demotivates team members. It causes fear within the team. And soon as you have a fear in your team, the creativity goes out because the team member will stop trying to experiment, will stop trying to innovate. They will only do the things that they have 100% surety that they will work because they are worried what the management would think of this. If you see micromanagement within your team, anyone at any level doing, you as Scrum Master, it's your job to protect that team. Number 5, bypassing retrospectives. As an Agile team, we should be continuously growing. We should be continuously improving ourselves. We should be continuously improving our processes. Scrum is based on empirical process. Empirical process has 3 pillars: transparency, inspection, adaptation. In our retro, we are being transparent to everyone within our Scrum team of what worked really well, what can be improved. We are inspecting our processes, our ways of working, and we are bringing changes in. One of the reasons why most teams stop doing retrospective is when they realize that they are not bringing any value. And the main cause of retrospectives not bringing any value to teams is when the actions from retrospectives are not being actioned upon. So anything that you agree within your retros, make sure you follow through on that. Then your team will see the benefits of retro and they will be excited to hold the retro meetings. Retrospectives are core to Scrum's success. Number 6, not prioritizing your backlog. There's a really exciting quote I read in one of the books fairly recently, where it was saying that by not prioritizing your features, by not prioritizing your backlog, you are giving the person with the least authority to prioritize the backlog for you. Because the most junior person, the most junior developer is going to go and pick up a user story and start working on that. As a product owner, you have not prioritized it. So you have handed over that authority to someone else to do that for themselves. So all of your junior developers, all of the interns in your teams are doing that job for you. They are prioritizing the backlog for you because they will pick up the user story that they like and they want to work on. By them taking the items from backlog and start working on it, that's automatically prioritize that work item over all of other requests from the customers and everything else in your backlog. People struggle to prioritize when they are unable to say no. Because when you are prioritizing, you are saying these are the top features we are going to work on and you are saying no to everything else. Most people struggle to say no, and that is why the backlog never gets prioritized. It is the responsibility of the product owner to prioritize the backlog. And it is the job of a Scrum Master to coach the product owner how they should prioritize their backlog. And Scrum Masters should be supporting the product owner in prioritization. By failing to prioritize your backlog, you are guaranteeing a failure of the project. So prioritization of backlog is part of Scrum. It's really important. And when you are not prioritizing, that means you can't build your MVP, which means that you will have to do big bang release for all of the features when everything gets completed. And Agile is about iterative development. Agile is about delivering small features and getting feedback from customers to see if they have worked. Anti-pattern number 7, inconsistent sprint lengths. If you have inconsistent sprint length, then you cannot use your velocity to plan for the next sprint. You have no baseline on how much you can deliver within a sprint, and it creates more overhead for everyone. Scrum is based on small iterative cycles, so to make them consistent. I personally, in the beginning of the year, I put in all of my sprint planning, sprint retro, sprint review meetings in for whole of the year because they are recurring meetings. So everyone knows what time of day is daily Scrum and where it is. All of your customers and stakeholders know what day of the week is your retrospective and where it is. They have those invites. You do not need to spend time and effort every single sprint trying to plan in your retros, to plan in your sprint planning. All of those are done up front. Make your sprint length consistent and make your meetings recurring and set them up in advance so that you don't need to think about it. You don't miss them. And if you have inconsistent sprint lengths, then how do you know how much can you deliver in that sprint? If your last sprint was 2 weeks, this is 3 weeks, next one again is going to be 2 weeks or maybe 4 weeks. What is your baseline? Number 8, ignoring technical debt. Remember one thing, whatever debt it is, you always have to pay back with interest. If it is your bank loan, if it's your mortgage, you have to pay that back with interest. And same is true for your tech debt in your software development. When you come to fix your tech debt, you will have to pay back with interest. The longer it is sitting on your backlog, the longer it will take for you to fix it when you start to fix it. There was a research done a couple of years ago, and they found that if you fix a bug soon as you found it, and let's say it took X amount of days to fix it, but the same bug, if you left it for 5 sprints and you fixed it after 5 sprints, it would take you 10 times longer to fix that. If that original bug would have taken you 2 hours to fix it, this will take you more than 10 hours. They found the longer you left that bug, the longer it took you, the more time it took you to fix it. By ignoring your tech debt and leaving it on your backlog, when you come to fix it, it will take you that amount of longer, the longer it stays on your backlog. So when you have tech debt, always plan to fix it as soon as possible. Number 9, ineffective communication. Ineffective communication with stakeholders, with your customers, within the team. Ineffective communication causes confusion, causes mistrust. So always be transparent. Over communicate. Most teams say that we are doing Scrum, we don't need to provide reports to our management. Scrum is about providing transparency to your stakeholders, to your management. So provide the reports and the metrics that are helpful for both you as a team and your management. Be transparent with them, be open with them, and over communicate with them. Number 10, being really rigid with Scrum and not looking toward XP and other frameworks for best practice. Scrum is a really light framework. Scrum is a really light framework, and it is there to provide you with flexibility. It doesn't tell you how you need to do your programming. It doesn't tell you how you need to do your testing. It expects you to look outside and take the best practices from the industry. So look at what's happening in XP. Borrow those best practices like TDD, like BDD and all the other practices. And you can actually look at other agile frameworks as well, like Kanban. And you can bring in things like WIP limits and embed them into your Scrum process. But you should know that most Scrum teams today use user stories. Scrum doesn't talk about user stories. That's something we have nicked from extreme programming. Every team, every Scrum team uses a Scrum board. That we have actually nicked from Kanban. Look at things like WIP limits, look at other processes that can help you as a Scrum team and embed them in your processes. Fingers crossed, the next video on my channel is going to be about no estimates. So thank you for making so far through this video. If you have liked my video, please don't forget to click on like. And if you haven't so far subscribed to my channel and you have made it so far through this video, then please be nice and subscribe to my channel. So when I upload any new exciting video, you see that on your feed. Till next time, thank you very much for watching this video.